What an exciting time Christmas Eve really is, not just for the children, but for all of us as adults as well. However many Christmases we've celebrated before, whatever our age is, Christmas Eve brings a special sense of excitement. And sometimes, friends, people think that following God's will in their lives will also be a continual sense of excitement, that our life is going to be free from doubts, free from confusion, free from frustration if we will follow God's plan. We assume that being led by God will enable us to have a clearer understanding of what is expected of us and exactly how we should cope with situations that we find ourselves in. Friends, that assumption is incorrect. It is true that living outside of God's will usually place us in times of turmoil and heartache, and living in His will does not absolutely automatically mean peace and tranquility. A great example of this is Mary and Joseph. Here are a couple who have said that they were willing to accept the mission that God had told them all about, to raise a child, to raise Jesus, in whom the whole likeness of God was born on the earth. Mary and Joseph accepted, but it would have been easier, surely, if the angels had announced the news to everyone, or at least to their immediate family and closest friends. At least that would have saved them from being judged and ridiculed by many who must have doubted their story, their account of what they were going through. But apart from a selected few, nobody knew the true origin of their child. On top of the public gossip that Mary had to face, there was the inconvenience of having to travel a great distance because of the census. In addition, when they arrived, there was no place for Mary to give birth. And then to hear that somebody wanted to kill your child and having to flee hundreds of miles to Egypt would have made their situation even more confusing for them. And the icing on the cake was to happen 12 years later when they lost Jesus for 3 days. Can you imagine the fear that Mary and Joseph must have felt, the things that they must have gone through their minds, thinking that they might have failed in that special mission that they were doing for God? The reason I share this with you on a night like tonight is to encourage you through your difficult times. You may feel that if you were actually following God's plan for you, then you wouldn't face the doubts and fears that you do. Of course, if we get our priorities wrong and move away from God, we can expect to experience doubts and heartache. You are the only one who can put that right. But that was not true for Mary. You too may be experiencing troubles because, like Mary, you are following God's will for your life. If that is the case, then be encouraged, because nobody could have had a clearer mission than Mary and Joseph, and yet they were full of confusion and doubt about this child, about the mission they'd been called to enter into, about their lives and all that God was demanding of them. Friends, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, but I hope and pray that if you are full of doubts and confusion at this time, if you're wondering why life hasn't worked out in the way that you hoped it would, then can I encourage you to put your hand into the hand of God and trust Him as you move forward together, just as Mary and Joseph did. Amen.